Welcome back to the Dope Stroke podcast. It's just myself and Daryl. He's taking the morning off, but we've got the big guns in. We have got Piers and Andy, me and my golf. Obviously, many of you will know them, but recently thrust into the limelight with Aaron's incredible major win. Before we get started, Piers, I want to take you back. 2015. People can find this on YouTube. I think me and you need to change our Instagram bios because me and you took down a major champion at the Belfry. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Chipped in on the last.
You stole my thunder there. I was going to make birdie and you chipped in.
You took to about 6 feet and I chipped in, yeah. Sorry about that.
That was, for anyone who doesn't know, you can go and find it on YouTube. There was 2 videos on your channel, one on mine. It was a match between me and Piers, Andy and Aaron, and me and Piers won. So from now on, I'm telling everyone I beat a major champion.
But just to check, was that 2 against 1?
3 against 1.
So it wasn't really a fair fight for the lad, was it?
Andy was a secret spy.
I don't actually remember that game.
Boys, thank you so much. I know you're busy. I know it's super early where you are in the world at the moment. So thanks for jumping on. Look, we've been talking about getting you boys on for a long time because we could talk about you building one of the biggest online coaching platforms, building one of the biggest social media platforms, coaching a tour player, tour winner. But now, obviously, we can talk about coaching a major champion. I mean, I'm sure Aaron's life has been pretty crazy for the last 2 weeks. What's your life been like? I'm guessing you've had podcast requests and phone calls, opportunities. Has it been pretty crazy for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first 2 days was just like the phone was just hot. It was just mental messages, emails, loads of things going on. But then it was just straight back to work. So it was like we've done a few interviews and bits and bobs for a few different people. But then it was like back to just coaching and content. I had one of my guys, I was messaging him, trying to get him sorted in the diary. And he's like, why are you messaging me? Like, what's going on? He says, you've just won this major tournament. He was like, what are you doing messaging me? So in one way, it was great to sort of take stock and go, wow, incredible what he's done. And we've done a couple of different things. But for us, it's like, okay, let's get back to it and back to our coaching days and back to our content days. So we're back in the flow of work now. As it's so easy to do. It's like, okay, on to the next thing. But there'll be some time where we can stop and sort of have a proper acknowledgement of what's actually happened, because it's still this week for me. I still have moments where I'm like, holy crap, he's actually won it. Like this. I still have those moments where I'm like, shit, he's done it. So it still feels a bit strange, but incredible thing to witness. And for us with Aaron, we've never had any doubt of his ability and what he could do in the game. But it still blows you away when he goes and, even just winning, the Rolex at the Scottish Open, winning the Wyndham. It's still just an amazing thing when something happens like that, especially a major. You guys know how hard it is to win a major. Like, to win a PGA Tour event's hard, but to get a major done, like, for the first time, under that immense pressure, it's like I can't even comprehend what that would feel like to be leading, going down the stretch. So just an incredible victory and just a dream come true for Aaron. Like, you boys know he works so hard. Like, harder than anyone I know, and he deserves it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting for me as well, just looking at you two guys and knowing you for the amount of decades now that I've known both of you boys, which is, we're all getting a little older now. That's what happens when we all get older. We just know each other for decades. But I've seen you go from, trainee golf pros and kind of working your way from one sort of position to the next. Your career it's a bit like snakes and ladders, right? You go up a few steps, you take a couple of backward steps, you go up a few more steps, take a couple of backward steps. And your career is basically a body of work, which really summarizes everything that you guys are about and everything you guys do. So when I'm looking at this and kind of reflecting on what Aaron has been able to achieve and his connection over a long period of time with you boys, you guys have had lots of individual moments of success. And it's funny, I've been watching this documentary about Ronaldinho, and his big thing in life is about moments. It's not, and your moments creates the body of work of your life. So when I think about Aaron winning that event, that's obviously a massive moment for you guys professionally. But I'm quite interested to know the journey that it took to get to that moment. What were the other sort of 2 or 3 kind of highlights in terms of moments that you felt have led to that, I guess, big achievement of being the coaches of a major champion? That's a bloody good question, actually. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee there while I let you guys, pearl on that one.
You can't credit yourself for a good question.
Nah, that was a great question. That was like,
question.
Andy Goldstein will be happy with that. I tell you, he'd love that.
I'd say do a mic drop, but that would probably be
it'd be
a
awkward
bit
in a
hot and wet
podcast.
for you at the moment. I think it's a really interesting one. Look, one thing that we'll say, me and Andy have definitely been extremely fortunate, blessed, whatever you want to say, in that the lives that we've led have been phenomenal. What we've done, and this is all based on, I've heard Trotty say this about, when we saw him in Hong Kong, telling him what we were going to do. And Chris, I can't actually really remember how much what you thought about what we were doing when we went to go into this YouTube space from the Three Hammers Academy, but we've always looked, and we knew deep down what our purpose was. Our purpose was to help golfers get better. We've always wanted to do that from the day in the PGA Academy when we were probably the only 2 out of 100 who put our hand up to say that we wanted to coach. We didn't want to play. We didn't want to be tournament players. We've always known that we wanted to coach, and that's just driven all of our decisions. So whether those moments are like going to see Martin Hall and Greg Rose and Dave Phillips at Bescott Stadium in Warsaw at a coaching conference, or then when it becomes signing a deal with TaylorMade and filming with Dustin Johnson and him looking at us and going, what are these 2 clowns doing here wearing the same clothes? Bright clothes as well, not normal clothes, really bright blue and white clothes. A bit of purple across the chest as well, I think it was. So whenever we've done everything we've done, the decision's always been made on just making golfers better. That's what really fulfills us and makes us happy. But then when you look at all of these moments that we've gone through, we're definitely very fortunate, but they've definitely helped, as you say, they've definitely helped shape the journey that we're on. I'm trying to think about how I should finish off answering this question here, because I kind of lost way how to answer it, I think. But ultimately, we've been extremely lucky. We've had a lot of moments in our lives that have pinch me moments. I think that we'll always talk about these pinch me moments, but Rory McIlroy filming with him at Bears Club, we were just there. And he was just there to film with us. We had a Nike thing later on that day, but it was like, we were just there just to film with him. We're like going, this is just really weird that we're standing here with probably the best golfer in the world at that point and talking to him about driving. So we've had lots of these moments we've been very fortunate to have, but they've definitely shaped us as well. And I think that when we look at someone like Aaron winning a major championship, where's that come from? It's come from spending time with you guys. Daryl, and one thing I wanted to make sure I did on this podcast was to thank you, because just segueing a little bit, when Aaron first got on the European tour and we were struggling with golf clubs, I said, look, we need one person who is going to be that person who we can trust, who is going to help you with the golf clubs. And it was you. You.
Thanks.
You were like 5th in line, but the other guys didn't want to do it.
Yeah, sounds about right. The other 4 guys said no.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't he still using that driver that you fitted him for, Daryl?
Yeah, probably. Would have been that amazing of a fit. So, yeah.
But all of these moments spent with these amazing people and these amazing brands have really helped to us to when Aaron's winning in a major championship, even like 3 days on the Tuesday, we're talking about playing chip shots out the rough. That stuff will have been learned on that journey from all these great coaches, from the great brands, working with them, and from the great athletes as well. So I don't know whether that kind of helps answer that question, but I said something. Whether it was the answer, I don't know.
No, I think you did, to be honest. You're talking about all the different milestones. It's ultimately about acquiring skill, acquiring knowledge, and applying that into an environment where you can test. Because I guess that's the thing with Aaron, is that you've known him for so long that and I'm making a very big assumption here, so feel free to kind of conclude that off a bit more. But I suppose you've got the kind of relationship and the kind of environment, knowing you guys and Aaron, that you're willing to test and try something just to see what happens. A little bit like the Dyson effect, 5,000 prototypes, doing them one at a time. It's a little bit like that, right? What is the effect of making this change, learning from that, and then applying it into an actual round of golf and then an actual tournament and so on and so forth. So I guess what you're answering there, Piers, is each one of those moments is a skill acquisition moment, which you guys, by the sounds of things, value really highly. But I guess, like all things, there's probably been times when you've gone to try and learn something and it's not gone well. Do you have any sort of scenarios, and it doesn't have to be related to Aaron necessarily, but has there been something that you've gone down the rabbit hole on? And I know Chris has got a burning question here, but I'm going down the rabbit hole of this one, is have you ever tried to do something that's just not worked, but you really believed in it and you thought, whether it's a swing change, whether it's a performance related thing, whether it's a data point that you're trying to influence statistically, is there something like that you really honed in on before and you thought, what, we've gone down this rabbit hole, it's failed and failed and failed, it's time to make a change? A little bit like Mercedes did with their Formula One car.
I've done that. Well, you talk about my golf swing changes, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
There is one. There's one. I'll keep it on Aaron because I think this is a good one. So we had some stats done. Duncan Carey, great guy, very good, very influential in the stats world. And we were working with Duncan, and we were talking about how if Aaron was probably about the 120th best player in the world at the time. And we were like, right, because we know his superpower is accuracy. He can hit the fairway, he can hit the green. But we were like, right, if he can hit the golf ball 6.7 yards further whilst maintaining 65%, I think he was, fairways hit, it would take him into the top 50 in the world. Mm-hmm. So we thought, that makes sense. That's a great stat. It's absolutely, for the most part, that would be correct. But that was one of the big moments from with Aaron, learning that, if we push something which isn't integral to how he plays the game, then it can be difficult. So we did do that. We got those yards, relatively simply, but the fairways hit got close. Never dropped below 60%, but it got close to that 60% mark, or 65% mark, which we didn't like. But it was how it felt for Aaron. The fact that Aaron was hitting literally, if Aaron hits 2 fairways less around, it's quite a big body blow to someone like Aaron, because he feels like he loses that control. So control is massively important for Aaron. And if we take away that control, knowing that the greater good would mean that he could get into the top 50 in the world because he's hitting less clubs. And we know you're further down the fairway. We know that you're going to have more chances to hit it closer. But we knew at that point there, so we had to then change how we did it. And we went down the body route more so than the technique route to get him hitting it further. So we went down that route. And look, we know he's got an M6. It's a mini driver. He's not hitting a golf club which is optimum for distance. He's hitting a golf club which is optimum for him, the ability to shape the golf ball as he sees fit. So yeah, he's that was a very important lesson for us, knowing, okay, we can't risk breaking his superpower, even if it meant that the net gain would be better. So that was definitely something we were like, yep, we're not going to do that again. But we're not going to do it that way anyway.
So I've got, I guess it's kind of 2 questions. And I sort of said this a few weeks ago on the podcast, just after his win, we spoke about it. And I said, look, if you're a casual golf fan who dips in and out of golf, that might have been a surprise winner. You're kind of thinking, I haven't really seen him that much. He's won once on the PGA Tour. But I said, not putting words in your mouth, but I said that the people who are close to him and around him, you guys, his family, probably not as surprised that he's gone on and won a major. So the first part of the question is, at what point did you look at him, whether it's being during the lesson or whether it be playing, and think to yourselves, yeah, I think he can win a major? Because I know that you both believed that. And then the second part of the question is, because he's obviously at that level now and he's won a major and he's clearly got the ability to do that. And I guess you might not know the answer to this yet, but are you trying to push him forward with his golf swing? Are you trying to look at his golf swing and say, we need to do this, this, and this to get him better? Or are you now just saying, okay, we pretty much have his blueprint. We just now need to make sure that for as long as possible, we keep him swinging it exactly the same way as he was when he won?
It's two good questions there. I think with Aaron, we like to talk about this. Like me and Piers have, and Aaron knows this. we always say that Aaron is like Neo and we're like Morpheus from the Matrix. And we've got so much belief in Aaron. Like, we've had so much belief in him. Not because he strikes the golf ball amazing, not because he's the most athletic person in the world. We've got so much belief in Aaron because of his attitude. That's it. Like, Aaron's attitude. That's our group. That's our group.
So for those that are, while we're laughing, is that there's Piers has just put up a picture of Aaron who looks like Neo with the background and everything with the green lines going down the screen, which is clearly their WhatsApp group. I think that might even be the thumbnail for this.
It's our WhatsApp group. It's our WhatsApp group. That's threw me off track there. But I think for us, it's like we've never had a doubt of what Aaron can do. Like, when he was 12, 13, it was always a conversation when you're on tour, when you're doing this. And then it would be like, you know, we wouldn't necessarily talk about winning events because Aaron doesn't like to get too much into the outcomes of stuff. We're very conscious of how we talk around him. But we knew he could win events. We just wouldn't talk about that stuff. And then as we've experienced probably the last few years of being over in the States, going to PGA Tour events, seeing him play, seeing the results. We've talked probably more about it recently from going to the events and going to the majors and going, like, Aaron's going to win a major. Like, we've had the conversations really over the last probably few months, 6 months, going, Aaron's going to win a major. Just because when we've been to these events, we've gone, the courses are perfect for him. They're harder, they're tighter, it actually lends itself more to his game because the premium is on hitting fairways and the premium is on hitting greens. And we're going, this actually brings some of the bigger hitters like Rory or, whoever it is, it brings them down closer to him because he's just going to find more fairways. He's going to make less mistakes. And if you've got the right length of a golf course, like for instance, Aronimink, it wasn't too long. If it was a beast of a course that was like 7,800 yards, you'd go, it might be different. But the fact that it was a little shorter allows Aaron to actually have the opportunity of going in with a mid-iron or even a short iron, reaching the par fives. It gives him the opportunity to make birdies as well. So for us, there's never been a doubt that he could win a major, especially that's probably the belief has grew over the last couple of years of being out here. And for him to do it, it's still, even though that belief was there, for him to do it, it's still crazy to think that he's done it. He's done it probably earlier than we thought because he hasn't had loads of chances to win majors. And, you feel like you need a certain amount of experience to challenge that before you can get it over the line. So I think that's probably the shock for us that he's got in the second to last group going out. He's got an opportunity to be in the hunt of a major. How's he going to deal with it? And he goes and closes out in the way that he did as well. That was a surprise to us. It's like, that was incredible. And then the second part to the question regarding golf swing, a lot of it now for us has been for a while now has been maintenance. We know how Aaron swings the club. We know how he performs best. It's changed over the years as the rest of his game, like, when he was on European Tour, Aaron's swing was a little one-dimensional. It was great for fairway. It was great for nice lies. He hadn't really experienced much playing out the rough. But as he's developed his short game and sort of sharpened the other tools in his box, that's bled into his golf swing a little bit. So his golf swing now has changed because the other stuff that he's sort of done, it's sort of a more well-rounded sort of picture now. So his long game is a little bit different. It's more suited some of the rough shots. His short game's bled into that. So it's different. So a lot of the stuff that we do, we go, yes, we want him to be able to create some more speed, power, without taking away his superpower. But we understand what works, and we go, how do we make sure that we keep him in his lane? How do we make sure that we keep him in his lane? We're not going, right, we want to do this in your swing, we want to change this, we want to do this. He's just won a major championship, so whatever he's doing is working. How do we make sure that we keep him fit and healthy? How do we strengthen his superpower? And if we can gain a little bit more performance within the body that he's got, and strengthen that, then that's the goal really. It's not massive changes. And Aaron doesn't do big changes either. He doesn't like big changes. His recipe for success is, let me just be a little bit better today than I was yesterday, and just compounds that over time. And that's what's gradually seen. You look at Aaron's journey as a pro golfer, winning on the challenge, Euro Pro Challenge Tour, European Tour, PGA Tour. It's so steady, but that just shows his I suppose his formula of how he gets better, really, and it just shows the nature of his work that he does every week, every month, and every year.
Do you think that now is also quite a difficult stage for him in a way, where this is a whole new type of challenge? He's now a major champion. Spotlight is on him all the time now. There's going to be more and more scrutiny about his game. That's part and parcel of success, as we all know. Like how you guys, I guess, not manage him, but coach him through this next run of events. There's still obviously a couple of majors to go for the year. And even a guy like Aaron, who, he's very disciplined, he's very structured, and I think those are all really good things to lean on. But it's hard to stay focused even when you're doing the actions of being disciplined. How do you keep him in that lane of not being distracted with the run of events that's to come?
Yeah, I think we've worked really hard the last week or so, just understanding, well, what does the schedule look like? What are you going to do? He's just been to Shinnecock to do a couple of practice rounds there. So that was something he did at Romanink as well. He did that a few weeks previous, did 2 days there. So he kind of likes that mode now when it comes to majors. He got there yesterday he's playing at Muirfield Village this week, obviously, for the memorial. And he was there last night, like late when it's quiet. He'll find the quiet times. Aaron's really good at that. Aaron's, what he's like. He's a late starter, so he can actually get there late. So he can get there at 3 or 4 o'clock when most people have gone and get his work done. And then he'll have certain media obligations that he has to do. He understands that. But I think he'll always be playing it on the limited side. So every conversation you'll have, he'll go, yeah, I can do a couple. That's it. So he's gonna work his way through that. So I think the one thing is, I think we're really well planned for this moment that he's got now over the next couple of months. But the inevitability of this is that he's still going to have things thrown at him that he just has not even thought about. The one thing that's been really interesting for him recently is he does really well at Wentworth. There's some things that are kind of given in golf, and Aaron winning at Wentworth is probably one of those things. We can't see how that's not going to happen. But he's become a bit of a fan favourite over there. And that's something that he's noticed the last couple of years, which is just different. And he's like, he's never really had that spotlight on him before. But again, he's coped with it well. And I think the one thing for sure is Aaron can cope with anything, but he'll do it in his way and on his stride. And I suppose that, again, inevitably, the next couple of months, there's probably going to be a few things thrown at him that aren't going to be in his stride, that he's just going to have to cope really well. We've already spoken to his caddy, Jason Timmis, and said, look, just stick close to him. You got to stick close to him. Even the priority was stick close to him because we're going to close this tournament out. And we know that if he sticks close to him, that's a good thing. If those two get apart, it wasn't so good. And we can talk about the last round, if you like. We've got some good things that we can talk about in that. But now Jace, his caddy, is like, look, stick close to him this week. So I've already spoken to him and said, look, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just pull him out of situations. If you see it going a bit pear-shaped or taking too long, just make sure you stick with him.
Did he pull out of anything recently? Was he meant to play last week or the week before?
Yeah, schedule changed a bit because he wasn't. Yeah. He obviously last year he didn't finish. It was a weird one because he didn't make the top 50. He was 52nd last year. He didn't start the season well enough to sort of springboard into those signature events, so he wasn't playing many signature events. But now, as a result, the schedule has changed, so he will be more signature based now. He was potentially going to play the week after, and Jason like, "We're absolutely not doing that because it never goes well a week after the win."
No, just bringing it back to like the coaching side of things. I know. I mean, look, I've not played golf with Aaron for years and years and years, but I obviously watch him a little bit, and I know speaking to you guys, we know that he shapes the ball. I guess he's kind of like an old school player that way, that he hits different shapes with driver, different shapes with irons, he hits different trajectories. He really plays the game the way he sees it. If I just look at my coaching, if I'm working with a player over a long period of time, you kind of see when they play their best. So you might get a golfer who plays their best when their club path is maybe between 0 and a couple of degrees into out. And you maybe know that when they're in that kind of area, they're playing their best. How do you assess that with Aaron? Because I'm pretty sure when he plays golf, he's going to have his path 5 left and 5 right, and then his attack is 6 down and it's 3 down, and he's moving those numbers all over the place. So how do you sort of, as coaches, how do you look at him and assess where he is when you actually see him? Because, I mean, he's obviously got a stock shot. Is that the baseline that you work from? Or do you just look at him trying to hit his kind of variety of shots and make your judgment from that?
Great question. Because if you watched Aaron play, you'd just see him hit these low fades, high draws, like they're all over the place. That's his game. But the one thing that we always do, he spends probably every session, he'll spend the first portion on just calibrating his neutral. So, because the more neutral he is in his calibration, the more freedom he's got to go either side. So generally, Aaron's path is anything from, it's generally 0 to 1 left. Like he lies on the slightly fade side.
Me too.
Yeah, dream on. You have to lay him about 40 yards left to get that, don't you?
Chris's direction club path is that far right, it's left.
So yeah, Aaron sits like between 0 and 1 left, and it varies a little bit, but generally it's that side. We have to try and, if anything, it wants to drift more left. We have to try and sort of keep him closer to the 0 if we can. And every now and again, his alignment tends to shift. It opens up, generally goes a little bit too far left. So everything is just trying to bring him back to, is his calibration good? Is his neutral close to neutral? If his neutral is close to neutral, he can access both sides. But if he starts to get a little bit drifty to the left, where his bodies start to open up, then fade's easy. Draw then becomes a little hard. And then it doesn't mean he can't play well, but it just means that how he likes to play the game and see the shots, he's got a back pin that's left. And he would love to hit like a hard draw, but he's too fade biased, then he's not playing to the game that he likes to play. So every week they're sending us swings with launch monitor numbers, with the camera in the right position every week. So we just get a view every single week and a checkpoint of, is there anything changed? Is his posture changed? Is his numbers changed? And we're just always keeping an eye on that so nothing drifts too far, because everything's always moving in the golf swing all the time, as you guys know. So it's like, if we can just nudge him back quickly, we just keep it in. It's not 10-pin bowling. We're keeping in between the sort of buffers here. If he drifts out of that, it's danger, and then you've got to do a lot of work. But it's so much easier to go, just feel small draw. One of the cues sometimes that he'll have. Feel small draw if you're starting to get a little bit too path left. But that key there is that it's very rare that Aaron hits any straight shots. But he'll calibrate his straight, he'll calibrate his neutral, so he's got the freedom to do all the other stuff that he wants to do.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before on the podcast, and it's something that I speak to my students about, but I always say, look, imagine you're on a 3-lane motorway or highway. If you're in the middle lane, that's you playing your best golf. Great, you're happy. But if you take your hands off the wheel, at some point you'll drift. So you can't take your hands off the wheel, can you? I guess what you're saying there is the same sort of thing. He's playing great golf, but you've still got to keep on top of that. You've still got to calibrate it. You've still got to make sure that you prevent that drift. Because if that drift happens and you're now 5 miles down the road, as you said, it's a bigger change to get back to where you were. Whereas if you can, I call it, keep your hands on the wheel, there's subtler changes and probably less intrusive into your golf swing.
I think just one quick one as well. I think we were at Aronimink when we said this. I think we were on the range at Aronimink and we said, me and Piers had a chat. We're like, look down the range here. Look at all these tour pros using alignment sticks to check their alignment. And we're like, how many amateurs do this? Not that many, really. It's so simple. They're checking the absolute basics. Am I aimed in the correct place? Is my ball position in the right place? Because things just shift. And if you don't train it, then 3 weeks go by and then you're aiming right or you're aiming left. And we've seen it all the time. It's like, check the fundamentals. Most of our coaching with Aaron is posture, alignment, ball position. It sounds so simple, but if those things are the same, he's staying in that middle lane then. But if one of those things changes, if his ball position gets back, sometimes it does, his alignment needs to change. So his alignment will change based on his ball position, and then all of a sudden you've got compensations coming in. So like amateur golfers should be just checking that so much more than they do. It's like the tour pros are doing it every single time.
It's so funny, isn't it? I always think with good players, I think it's all players, but good players, their eyes deceive them all the time. And what I mean by that is they adjust to the flight. They adjust to what they see all the time. So depending on what the demands of the shots are, they will adjust and manipulate their golf swing to see a flight. And that really hit home for me. This is back in TaylorMade days, and launch monitors were really starting to come to the fray. And when we went to Madeira Islands Open was the worst European Tour golf tournament in the world. I just want to say that on record. It is the worst tournament in history. However, you are on top of a cliff. The driving range is a cliff. So when we had the launch monitors out, the launch angles were coming out at 1 or 2 degrees, but the ball flights looked amazing because you're hitting it off a cliff. So the players are just adjusting all the time. And we thought there was a problem with the launch monitors. But I think the lesson there is that you adjust to your environment all the time. And tour players who go from different altitudes, different weather conditions, different air densities, temperatures, all of those variables, I think that baseline, just using alignment sticks as part of that example, is absolutely crucial. If you don't know where zero is, you're stuffed in everything. Like it's like a number line. You run a business. Well, if you run a business, zero is breaking even. If it's a positive number, you're making money. If it's a negative number, you're losing money. So your baseline has to be zero, right? And I think the same thing applies in a golf swing. So yeah, I'm totally validating and supporting your point there, to be fair, Andy. But I want to go back a little bit to Aaron on the back nine there, Piers. You obviously mentioned that you got a few things to add on that. I think one thing is, from my perspective, that is probably one of the best stretches of golf. For the last 6-7 holes that Aaron played, he did not put 1 foot wrong. And if you said that was Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, I think the entire world would be absolutely wax lyrical about what happened there. As such, Aaron being the nice guy that he is, I almost feel like, it's been well documented, by the way, but I feel like it hasn't quite got the limelight that it deserves, because everyone's talking about how nice of a guy he is more than how ruthless he was in executing an amazing strategy, which clearly worked for him. But there must have been stuff going on behind the scenes, inside the ropes. What was it, Piers?
Before you claim that as one of the best back nines you've witnessed, just go back and watch that YouTube video, because me and Piers we were dovetailing so well on that back nine. So just before you make that claim,
the 2 against 1, yeah? Yeah, okay, got it.
It's definitely the second best back nine I've ever seen. I mean, it's someone said it the other day, which is really interesting, because it was so tightly packed. And when you actually write down or say it out loud what he did, you got Justin Thomas in the clubhouse at 5 under. You've got John Rahm. Scotty was kind of near there. Rory. All of these really good, strong, phenomenal athletes are right there. And they're in this horse race. And there's like 10 horses. It's like Grand National coming into the last sort of furlong or the last jump. And there's they're all there together. They're all lined up. And suddenly one of them just decides to go, I'm going to go. And all of the other horses didn't do a thing about it, or couldn't do a thing about it. So when you look at that, for me, how he did that, it was incredible. One thing that I think was really interesting, his first 8 holes to score weren't that good. So he was kind of he was kind of doing what the other guys were doing. He was making some birdies, but he was dropping some shots as well. And they got on the 8th. 8th's like a 240-yard par 3, goes down. It looks stunning. It's huge green. And he's single putted. I think he missed the green. He missed the green on his second shot. So he's had to get up and down to make a bogey. And I think there was a conversation there. And this is where Jason really came in, his caddy. There was a conversation there based on clarity, I think, is the best thing to say. And understanding that they've got to be really clear now on the shots moving in. And it was really interesting, because I didn't actually start watching it until about the 10th hole. I was normally when Aaron's got a chance to win and I can see it on TV, I'm watching it as a result. I'm watching it from a coach to understand what he's doing in specific shots. But I didn't fancy it. I didn't fancy watching it. It was really weird. And I got the laptop on. We haven't got a TV here. We've got the laptop on. And then I came down after he just eagled 9, I was jet washing the roof, and I thought, sod this, I'm watching this now. But the one thing that really stood out to me, and it made total sense when I spoke to Aaron later that night, was you can never hear Jason and Aaron talk. We're literally like 4 yards from them on the golf course in a practice round, and they're talking, and we're like, what are they saying? You're like having to get in close to listen. They're so quiet. They're on a different decibel level or something. I don't know.
They're like dolphins communicating in a different
it's freakish,
frequency.
Really
sonar.
Yeah, sonar. That's it, sonar. But the instructions they were giving each other and the back and forth was really punchy, clear, and you could hear it. And it was like, oh, this is different. And at that point there, and then obviously it gets backed up by the fact he's hitting good shots and holding putts. But at that point there, I'm going, this looks really good. And I think that was the defining moment for them, was after the 8th, they got clear. Now, of course, you've just dropped a shot and you have that conversation with each other, and then you go and eagle 9. Then that makes things obviously a lot easier. But I think you're right from that point. He didn't miss a shot. And I think the thing that demonstrates the thing that sums up Aaron better than anything is the 15th hole. 15th hole, par 4, 500 plus yards, uphill, fairway sloping very much from right to left. There's a bunker at around about 300. The players are having a nightmare with this hole, very difficult hole. So think about this. What we're saying about Aaron. Aaron is someone who shapes the golf ball both ways and is comfortable doing it. Aaron is also someone who doesn't care what other people are doing. He really is, we'll go there. Iron covers, 2 gloves, castle tees. He really doesn't give a damn. He stands on that hole there with a 3-wood, being one of the shortest hitters in contention, and hits a fade against the slope going uphill. I'm not even going, what's he going to have left? He's going to have the same club? He's going to have a 3-wood? He hits this fade, which fades around about 10, 15 yards, holds the center line of the fairway. Then it's a big high draw, and it is literally a yard from being stiff to the flag. Yeah. So he's had a hole there where he's totally ignored what anyone else is doing around him, and he's demonstrated his ability to shape the golf ball. That for me was that summed Aaron up in that tournament, if that makes sense to me. It was so good. The putt wasn't that good, but I think the putt was so difficult. But it was just the way that he played those holes. He would have had a plan. So I'm not sure how much you know this, but on the night before, he would have stood there knowing a rough idea of the wind direction and the strength of it, and gone, I'm going to hit that. That's what I'm going to do on 15 tomorrow, no matter what. I'm going to stand there, I'm going to hit a 3-wood, I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to hit a 5-iron. So he was definitely juiced. He was like 225-yard second shot. So it was like he got a little bit of pump in him, and he knew by the 14th that he was leading. He actually knew on the 14th he was leading. He doesn't look at leaderboards, but he could the crowds weren't hiding it from him. I've said to Mrs. we've got a new sponsorship deal. It's going to be Beats by Aaron, and he's going to walk around with his noise cancelling headphones, just like you, Dazzler, what you're wearing there.
Yeah, little Marshall numbers. These I'll have, actually. These are little beauties. Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. And the train that keeps going by every now and then.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I just want to ask you too about where your heads are at as coaches, because you look at what Aaron's done through his career, and I guess being his coach, your career is going to track the same way. You are coaching amateur golfers, recreational golfers on the driving range, which I know you still do, but then suddenly you're coaching a tour player on the DP World Tour, then you're coaching a tour winner, then you're teaching a PJ Tour player, then you're teaching a PJ Tour winner, then you're teaching a major champion. Mm-hmm. So I think, having spoken to you guys, what I think is really impressive from my standpoint is you're just very true to yourselves as coaches. But there must be a part of you, or there must be some element of you that still offers lessons to recreational golfers. Someone books in, and almost this pressure to be, I've got to now deliver a different kind of lesson to the guy down the road or the girl down the road because I'm coaching a major champion. And I think, being able to kind of block all that out and just look at the student in front of you with your coach's hat on and say, what is going to make this golfer better? And if that is telling that golfer that their ball position is too far forward, you've got to tell them that, rather than feeling this pressure to go, have I got to talk about vertical ground force and kinematic sequence and all this kind of jungo that you hear online. So just wondering where your heads are at and how that journey's influenced you as coaches, and how you've had to maybe stay in your lane and focus on what you're doing as golf coaches and just look at the ball flight and the impact in the golfer and treat them like you would have treated a guy back in 2015 at the 3 Hammers?
Good question. I'll speak for Piers on this one as well. I think we're probably in the same boat when I say this one. It feels really easy. Like, it feels really easy because when you stick a golfer in front of us, like, it's where me and Piers just come alive. Like, you stick a golfer who's got some problems, which all of us have. You stick one of us, just both of us in front of him, and we just get excited. We're like, oh, I mean, Chris, you're still coaching. Daryl, you're not coaching, but that feeling that you knowing you can help them, like, straight away, you just get excited about what that's going to do for them, and all the other shit just goes away. So somebody might come for a lesson, and they might have, like, I'm coming to a lesson with Andy and Piers, and I've watched them on YouTube, or they coach Aaron Rai. But our job quickly is to sort of level everything out. You know, it's just to disarm that and just go, we're here to give you a lesson and help you play better golf. And I'd like to think that anyone who comes to us for coaching will feel that pretty quickly and understand, oh, this is just a normal lesson, and just as you're a golf coach and you're here to get me better, and I'm just going to listen to what you say. So I don't think it's hard, that at all, because our focus is always on the consumer and the customer coming to get them the results. And, you know, yes, Aaron is a major champion now, and it will change things a little bit, the perception, I'm sure, of some people.
You're going to stick your prices up.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? It's going to change things a little bit. The prices are going up.
That might change a little bit. But it won't really change the way we do things. You know, if anything, we're always looking to just get better and just think about how we can deliver and improve what we do. Will it change things a little bit? It maybe just give us a nudge to even work harder again, and just to go, right, we're just going to continue to push ourselves. But we know that as soon as that person gets in front of us, it's Andy and Piers with Dave, and we're just going to get Dave better, you know. And that's I think that's continues to be our driving force. You know, we see sometimes when you go to a golf course, and let's say we're at one of the majors and somebody's there, watches your videos. It's still the best moment when somebody comes up and says, "Oh, guys, I've watched your videos. Like, they really help." And some of these people are really they're really nervous because they've watched you on YouTube or TV or whatever it is. And one thing that we always do, we're like, okay, they might be a little nervous. We just want them to just go, want to bring them back to level and go, "Hi, what's your name? Like, thank you so much." Because sometimes they go, "I don't really want to come and say hello. I don't want to bother you," and things like that. But we're like, great, come and like say hello and have a chat with us, and understand that we're just two regular guys from Wolverhampton who play golf and love the game and just want to help people get better. So that it feels a long way of saying it feels really easy, but that's just a window in, I think, to just how me and Piers operate. You give us somebody to help, and it's like it just switches us on straight away.
Do you know this? Just sorry, Chris. I think this is crucially important for anyone who's listening to this who wants to get better at golf. I'm going to be a dick and go name dropping now, but whenever we've spoken to these great athletes, to Rory, to DJ, to John Rahm, whoever it is, it's incredible to me how simple they keep it. We did a video with Colin Morikawa once, and we're like, geez, Colin's just not giving us anything. And it was like, because he keeps it so simple. And I think the majority of golfers are trying this much, whereas the ones who aren't working, whereas the guys or the girls who are performing at a really high level, they know what works for them, which is the most important thing. They know what they shouldn't do, which is really, really important as well. And they just keep it really simple, and they understand how to perform. I think the golfer who struggles is striving for more information on kinematic sequence, ground force reactions, what influences what in the golf swing, whereas you don't need any of that. Understand what works for you on moving the ball, how you want it to get the mood. Find someone who can help you maintain that, a good coach who can help, or good videos that can help you maintain that, or swing coach, should I say. But it's like there's so many golfers out there who are messing themselves up because of the vast amount of information out there now. There really is. It's like it's not there's no there almost, me and I talk about this a lot, it almost needs to be governed. The information needs to be governed if you wanted to play the ideal world of getting golfers better. But I think anyone listening to this, just please understand what you do, understand what makes you tick, and just keep it really simple. Always think about trying to make it more simple, not more complex.
I think Lloyd's in the background, and Lloyd should really be listening to that really hard. So Lloyd, that little segment was very specifically for you, Lloyd. Keep it simple, simple.
I think I knew you'd answer that in that way, and one of the things that I look at you guys and I'm impressed with is this thing that underpins everything you do, which is how can we make golfers better? That literally drives you in terms of every decision you make. I'm pretty sure of that. And, you know, you just saying there, Andy, that you get a golfer in front of you and you just go straight into coaching mode. How do we get this golfer better? Because I think I've seen it and you've seen it, you know, your social media following, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram. Yes, it's been curated a little bit, but it's the result of that desire to help people get better. Whereas my advice to anyone listening to this would be, if you go on social media, any coach that you see who looks as if they're intending to sound clever, trying to use intentional big words, they're so much more concerned about how they're perceived. When those are the people you need to be concerned about, because you guys have never ever coached in a way. This is like, how can we sound clever? How can we sound more knowledgeable than the next person? It's just, what can I give this golfer to get better? And it's I won't say it's brave, but it's, you know, it's fair play to you to sticking to your guns and just keeping it really simple. And you've done incredibly well. But I just think that's my take on it, that there's too many people out there trying to play the game of, look at me, I know loads, I can teach you something that you've never heard before. And it's just not the way, is it?
Yeah, I think that's...
It also comes with experience as well. And I think the longer you coach, the more you realize actually what works and what doesn't work, obviously. And you have to just be so confident in yourself and what you do to not get sucked into trying to sound impressive. Because I know some people will watch our stuff and go, okay, it's too basic. Like I'm better than that now. I need to move on to more complicated technical stuff. And we're going, well, we know that isn't the case. We know the best players in the world, as they get better, they're not getting more and more technical. They're getting more and more simple. Our work with Aaron has got less and less over the years. Like, it's more simple now to coach him than it was 10 years ago. And that's the same journey it should be for a regular golfer. But I think, as Piers said, it's like people are chasing more and thinking more detail is better. And for us, we just know that, like, our job as coaches is to, you know, we've talked about it a lot, is to make golf simple. Because it's not easy, but it can be simple. And I think if you make it simple, it's way more enjoyable. And I think for the majority of golfers out there, their best round of golf won't be when they're thinking of 6 different swing thoughts, you know, of flattening the lead wrist, shallowing the club, rotate it, like all this stuff. It's like, it doesn't happen. So our experience of playing golf, and we all love the game. Like, we wouldn't do this if we didn't love the game, love to play still, love to coach, love to learn. So we're students of the game in our own as well. So we've tested it all out. You know, we've done it all. We've made a lot of the mistakes. So from us, it's just about making sure that the consumer is the right thing. And you could get sucked into it, but it's like, look, we know what works. We want to keep it simple, and we'll attract the right people at the right time. You know, people will go off and try all these different things and technical stuff, and it won't work. And they'll be chasing something more simple. And then when they're ready for that, hopefully they go, okay, maybe these guys aren't too basic. Maybe they actually know what they're talking about, keeping it simple. So that's our motto.
I think it's a great segue, actually, for what I wanted to touch on with you boys as well, just focusing a little bit more on the future and the business end a little bit. And actually, the simplicity thing I really identify with a lot, because in the space of business, and I think it's the same with golf, making things complicated is actually easy. It's very easy to add complexity to anything. But the best ideas, the best outcomes are always built on the skill of making complex things simple. And that's the same thing relates to business, right? Like, it's all well and good having a really complicated solution to a problem. But if you have a simple solution to a significant problem, you're going to yield much greater results, right? And I actually think with the way that you guys have progressed your careers and being able to acquire and access all of this knowledge over many, many years now, and being able to articulate that in a simple way is a huge skill, which has then led to you guys being the coaches of a major champion. So as I look at that situation, you guys started out as golf coaches, always started out with the sole focus of developing golfers, whether they're a 25 handicap, getting them to 18, whether it's an elite amateur, getting them to tour winner, right? You've always had that same philosophy in equal measure to everyone that you guys have coached. And as such, you've then built this platform, the social media platform, which you guys are definitely part of a very small crew of OGs that started that movement off in the world of golf, became really prominent, became known for that. But I feel like you guys are at a bit of a pivot point at the moment, because you've got this amazing audience and you've got this amazing social profile, but you're actually got a reputation of being the coaches of a tour winner, and not just a tour winner, a major winner. So I guess where I'm going with my question here is, what next? Because what happens now if, and this is hypothetical, Justin Thomas or whatever tour player comes up and says, hey, Piers, Andy, I saw the stuff that you guys have done down the road there with Aaron. Like, is there any chance you boys could have a look at my swing? And what does that mean for you guys moving forward as you progress your careers? Is it more tour related? Is it more content related? Is it a combination of the two? Is it a case of, this is really overwhelming at the moment, we haven't even started thinking about it just yet? Like, what is the actual answer, boys? I really want to know.
We need some names here. Has anyone?
Yeah, I want names. Give us names. Has Tiger called? He should.
I think we could both answer that question, and it both would take us a long time to answer it. But I think, I tell you, let me think of this. One thing I was thinking about when you were talking was, it's really interesting. This actually goes to business. It goes to golfers. Opportunities are often seen as a good thing. And I've got to be careful how I say this, I suppose, but I think they are, as long as you don't choose them all. And I think the one thing that we have to be really careful of is understanding, because we've had conversations with PGA Tour players. We have
Come on.
Standard.
No. But we could start, and especially with this, what's happened now, because there's definitely going to be more of another moment in time, as you spoke about earlier, Daryl, where there's going to be more opportunities now. So it's going to be very easy to take on these other opportunities. We are very much in a point in our business careers where we're looking to say no to a lot more and push a lot more to the side. And if we think about it, and you mentioned earlier about the snakes and ladders, and maybe a snake for us has been opportunities, and looking at all of the different things that we could do in opportunities. And everybody is very happy when they're presenting an opportunity to you. And it seems like that's amazing. We could do that. And look what we could do with that. The more we do business, the more we do golf coaching, the more we learn that the more opportunity, actually, the greater the fall sometimes. So I think understand what really lights you up. So for us, we love coaching real golfers. And if we can do that on YouTube as well, we're going to continue to do that. We love working with, elite athletes, whether that's coaching them or presenting them on the YouTube channel. So there's the core things that we love doing. Now, the good news is the core things that we love doing do make us some money as well. So we're going to continue to do those things. And it's all about, when you talk about, it's very important for us, the people we spend time with. So if there's a tour player who's an amazing player, who's a bit of a dick, comes to us and wants to work with us, we're most likely going to say no. But if a tour player comes to us who we like, and we like, yeah, that'd be a really nice experience coaching and working with them, then we're more likely to say yes. And that's the same with everything that we do now. It's like if it's an F yeah, based on the person, based on the brand, based on the way that we're going to be delivering content, then we're all in. As long as it's not diluting us and making sure that we have too many ladies in the red dress.
All right. Well, I know that you guys have got to have a leave at 8, so we'll wrap this up. So, look, massively appreciate your time. I know you guys are super busy normally, but probably even more so the last couple of weeks. Look, just an incredible win from Aaron. It was probably one of my most enjoyable tournaments, kind of watching that. I don't know Aaron that well, but I've met him a few times, so I felt like I had a little bit of skin in the game, but more for you guys to get that over the line. I said it on previous podcast. A lot of tour winners, a lot of major champions will have coaches, but those coaches will have been with them whilst they've been on tour. You know, it's very rare to get a situation like this where coaches have taken a junior golfer and literally guided them all the way. And when I say guided them all the way, I don't just mean swing wise. I mean, you know, guided them through growing up and maturing and learning how to play around the world. I know that Aaron's lent a lot on you guys for that. So it cannot be underestimated what you've done for Aaron. I'm sure he's appreciative of that. So just want to say massive congratulations to you guys. And thank you for giving up your time this morning.
What I will say, Chris, is that the inflection point was definitely 2015 when he got battered. And I think from there he decided, I just need to work a little bit harder. So you are a massive part of that. And what I will say, you know, I know Trotty's not on here as well, and it's a shame that he's not on here, but obviously we've got a lot of time for him. And obviously I know he's going through his new ventures now, which is very exciting. But you guys, you've all been part of that journey. You really have. You know, Daryl, we would have had conversations with you. You were very important for Aaron at the beginning when we were looking at the clubs and understanding that. Chris, we're always talking to you about, you know, our shared passion, which is getting golfers better. So there's all of these conversations, all of these touch points are so important to allow us to do what we do. So we couldn't be more thankful for you guys as well. And you guys are doing a real good job with this podcast as well. I did see a clip actually that Trotty was crediting us for helping him start going social. Tell him I haven't seen the check yet.
It'll be a big one.
It's maturing. If they don't pay now, they pay more later.
Talking of checks, I remember you called me, Piers, and you were like, I was working at the Balfour, and you said, Aaron wants to pop up. Can you just spend a bit of time with him in the TaylorMade, or he wants to try some 3-woods in different lofts and different shafts? So he came up with Amric, and we spent a bit of time in the TaylorMade room, maybe an hour or so, and he left. And he won, and he's doing his speech. I'm like, he's going to mention me. He's got to mention me. I was like, he's got to mention it, and he didn't. So next time you see him, tell him I was waiting for that mention.
I'll ask him to mention you in the next one.
If you mention you when he wins Shinnecock, that's fine.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, boys. Yeah, much appreciated. Thanks for everything. You guys are legends. Keep doing what you're doing.
Likewise. Thanks, boys.
Hey, keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Well done.